Hey, folks, welcome to our weekend edition of What's Going On in the Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 AM and iHeartMedia here in Rochester, New York. And I'm your hostess with the most, Nate Brown Jr. I've been away for a couple of weeks, and so is my man Greg V down in Las Vegas. Greg been away for a couple of segments. I guess Ryan has been holding it down for us. Ryan V, how you doing, buddy?
I gotta revise one thing. You were the one that cowered away when the
Okay.
Mets had their historic collapse. It wasn't
Okay.
Greg that disappeared. And even
Okay.
after the Padres got upset the way they did, in my mind,
Right.
it was an upset. Greg has been here. He was here last week. We were ready to roast you last week,
Listen,
Nate.
man. Listen, man. I had to transition and do some other things, man. You know, I'm a brother who's multifaceted, just like you, Cat. You're multi-talented, so I couldn't stay in that particular lane last week. So that's my excuse. We were doing the HBCU event, Greg, which was very successful. Over 6,000 people showed up to the game. We had a lot of good stuff going on there, and hey, we were running the media center, so shout out to the city of Rochester, the Monroe County, the Experience Live. They were the ones who pulled together the event. And a whole bunch of people that I cannot name because if I did, I'll get in trouble. But one person I got to name, one company, that's Baldwin Richardson's Foods. They were the prime sponsor. So shout out to them and Chick-fil-A. So it was a nice event. And hopefully next year we'll be back. And I like to see if we give the young kids an
I
NFL
can't hear you.
experience, Greg.
Ryan, is he frozen?
Nope, I'm still here.
I think there may be a delay on your end there, Greg, but yeah, HBCU tournament seemed to be great success. There's pictures of this event, Nate. So this is one of those
I
things
know.
that they don't have to just imagine. They go to our website, Fox Sports Radio WGO, and there's going to be a gallery there they can see the pictures at.
Yeah, because
So just
I sent
great
it to
times
you,
indeed.
Ryan. As a matter of fact, guess who took those pictures? A
Who took those pictures?
a 10th grader.
A 10th grade. You know what? I'm not even surprised. The level of skill kids have these days with phones and
Yo,
technology,
Greg,
I'm not even surprised.
I
That's
was blown
incredible.
away, Ryan. She got like in the huddle kind of shots. I'm like, Liliana, you did your thing. So yeah, man. So it was really a nice event, and they gave out Greg over $9 million in scholarships that Thursday with about 35 schools.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, hey, we need it. Good for those kids. Good for HBCUs. Sorry I couldn't be there. Some of us, we had prior commitments. Like my youngest son getting married, and then, I've been in California the last couple of weekends, but I still managed to make the show. I just wanted to see if you have a Knicks hat on right now. I
Okay,
thought,
okay, 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 okay. All right, let's just say this, right? Ryan, at the beginning of the season, Greg, and we're gonna go back to there. Ryan said to me, and I quote, "If the Mets don't make the World Series," he didn't say playoffs. He said World Series. I remember this, Ryan, because I got the tape to prove it. Will the season be a bust? And what did I say to you? I said the season will be a bust.
You
I
did.
said it's
You did
all
say
or
that.
nothing. You can't sign Juan Noto and think you're gonna win. And then the season before that, you did a good job. So it was all or nothing for me for the New York Mets. You heard what I called them too, the New York Mets, because here you are going backwards, and the Cleveland Guardians are going frontwards. They went from worst to first. Y'all went from first to last. Okay, and Greg, I need your breakdown because they might as well brought you back to pitch the Mets. What the hell? They got all these guys. I mean, I know they got the young arms, but the young arms didn't do anything for them. And Lord knows they had no pitching down the stretch, Greggy. Let alone if they did, the dudes couldn't keep it.
they're in a tough division though too. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, besides the West, I think that's the toughest division in baseball. You know what I mean? Well, you can say shoot, the Yankees division also, but the Yankees. Ryan's proud right now. He's wearing his Yankee hat. I mean, he was crying last 2 weeks ago, Nate. He was crying too.
Oh, thanks for the
He was
update, bro.
crying.
Thanks for the update, Greg.
He was crying. You were crying. You weren't even on the show. I mean, it was. You weren't even on the show. Uh, it's but the Yankees. The Yankees found a way to win ball games without hitting the home runs. You know what I mean? Going first to third. Scoring on a single to right. You know what I mean? They didn't rely on the home run, so that was amazing for the Yankees to win ball games without just relying on a 3-run home run.
But Ryan, here's the thing about the Mets that got me, right? They would get 5, 6, 7 runs, but they couldn't hold it. The bullpen would just, Ryan, they would just give up the lead. Now they got to play catch up, and they ain't very good at that. Not this season, anyway.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned. It really came down to the bullpen. Guys were hurt. Now the difference between the Mets and the Yankees, to make the comparisons, right? While we're in our glory days right now as New York Yankees fans, is that we were able to replace our injured pitchers. There was no
Oh my
replacement for
God.
Senga. Oh yeah, you see Schlittler out there, my man Schlittler. My God, you can't just bring somebody up like Schlittler. The Yankees were able to replace Garrett Cole with Garrett Cole Mini. I didn't see the Mets replacing any of these guys, these mid rotation guys they traded for that were supposed to carry the same level of play over that they had with lesser watch teams. Nope. Fell right on their faces. And I hate that you're insulting Juan Soto because he really, although didn't have the energy at times, and although dropped a lot of balls in the outfield, if you
Oh,
look at our clip that I put out, a lot of balls dropped in the outfield. He was all the Mets had this year. Alonso carried it at the beginning. Lindor was Lindor, but I'm sorry, I was still looking at Juan
but
Soto
but
playing
but
great.
but 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 Greg, you played Major League Baseball. Juan Soto is not a leader, and you know what I'm saying. Lindor isn't really a leader. They don't. The Mets don't have. Okay, this how I look at the Mets. For 2 years, and I've been saying this: stop taking pictures in the dugout when you ain't do nothing. After you the home run, you come, you ain't winning nothing. Cut the shenanigans. That's the first thing. The second thing is the Mets don't look like they have a leader. There's no leadership to me in that clubhouse. When you look at the Yankees, it's Aaron Judge. We know Aaron Judge is the man, right? Juan Soto, he's not a leader. He's not gonna. I mean, he plays baseball. I don't see him as a rah rah guy. I don't see Lindor as a rah rah guy. He just like my girl. So I don't see nobody in that locker room. Pete Alonso, he don't say a lot. Hey Pete, well there's no leader. Even in the Yankees, I give you Chad. Chisholm's a leader. Chisholm is a leader with the Yankees. But the Mets are void of leadership. Then when you get Mullins, who's batting 0.92, I'm going like, what are you doing? We got the guy from Baltimore. He can't hit way out of a damn paper bag. So the Mets played themselves totally. So from now on, this is the low hanging bar for the Mets for me. Just don't tank. I don't care if you don't even, just don't freaking tank like that, Greg. Help me out, Greggy. I know I'm venting, but just damn it, don't tank.
Well, I'm glad you get to vent vent on our show. You know what I mean? I mean, there's probably a lot of amazing Mets fans that are feeling the same way you do. No, you know, I'm going to disagree. I think we had this conversation before. I think Lindor is a leader. I think because when he's not playing well or he's not hitting, he's still trying playing good defense. He's still trying to take a walk.
Okay.
He's the first one out. He's the first one out of the dugout if someone else does something good. You know, uh, there are a lot of leaders that weren't vocal. You know what I mean? I'll give you Barry Larkin for example. Barry just he played hard. I mean he went out there, he played every day, he played hard.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of guys that aren't vocal. I would agree with you on Soto. He had some adversity, and you've seen some things, and he said some things that we weren't accustomed to. But hey, you're talking about a kid that's not used to having the adversity he had. He still had a okay year, but where you guys are going to be hurt is I seen Alonso opt out of his contract, so the polar bear is going to be a free agent. So you guys, without hit, I mean, just think where you would have been if they didn't sign him this year. You guys would have been last place probably in that division.
Okay. Okay.
When it got past the Marlins,
No,
and
no,
that's a good point, Greg. It's about the disruption of chemistry to go from the OMG Mets, a team built on a song, on a viral song. You say less selfies. How about more selfies? I never thought I'd say it, but that was kind of what the Mets magic was about, was the extra added effects. And it got them all the way to the NLCS. Whereas you take a more serious ball club with loftier expectations, a higher payroll, and you see what you get. I'm sorry. Maybe the flash and the sizzle in the pan is what makes the Mets when you don't have a legendary franchise fueled by winners like they have in the
Oh,
Bronx.
well,
You look at the '86 Mets. It was built on pizzazz.
it was, but they also had some great players
They
too.
they
did
had
have
You know,
excellent
some
players.
greats,
No,
excellent
no.
players.
If you look at the
So
listen,
does this
listen.
team. So
No,
does
no,
this team.
this team
no.
is
This
Soto's
this
this
better
team
than
is
anyone
rendition
on that
of the
'86 Mets
Mets,
team.
these guys did not show up when you were supposed to. I watched the whole season. I even watched games with my brother out in freaking California. And they moved to Atlanta. We still watching the whole daggone 9 innings, whatever. The Mets, the way their season was, it was so like no sense of urgency. Yeah, we in first place now, but they didn't play like let's stay in first place. When the Phillies played to kind of keep the ball rolling. The Mets just looked like they played just enough because they were the Mets. And I'm like,
well,
ain't nobody laying over down for you because you're the Mets. Especially the damn
it,
Marlins. The Marlins like seeing your ass come through the turnpike. Oh, easy victory. We'll sweep these guys. So no, the Mets gave me the whole persona this season that they were the big kids on the block and come take it from us. You had nothing to take anything from anyway, Greg.
you know what? I agree with you. I don't think the Mets, like when you look at the Phillies and you mentioned the Guardians
Yep,
earlier. Some teams when you watch them play, right? They're playing for a championship. The Mets are
yep,
playing from game to game. They
yep.
do the small things. You know, you got to move runners over. I mean, the only thing you can control is your effort. And the Mets, some of their players weren't given max effort. I mean, and that's hard to fathom that you can be making $53 million a year and you can't run out of baseball. You
And
know
when
what
I
I
see
mean?
and when I see
Facts.
Soto,
That's true.
I mean Brian, perfect step. I see Soto, you jogging down first base, and then you get mad when the first base coach tell you, "Yo, player, speed it up." You get an attitude. Then you get a third base coach who's squirrely that don't want to send nobody coming around third. You holding up the guy like, "Nah, we need this run." The Mets whole year to me was a fiasco. We got to go take a quick break, and when we come back, Ryan and Greg gonna break down the Yankees and the rest of Major League Baseball because I'm looking at Toronto, Yankees, Cubs, Brewers, Dodgers, Phillies, Detroit, Seattle. I'm like, okay, who's gonna be the World Series champ? I'm gonna go to defer to my man Greg. We'll take a quick break. Fox Sports 1280. What's going on in the experience? We'll be right back. Spin Award nominee 2025. That's why I said it 2025. Hey, folks, welcome back to segment two of What's Going On in the Experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeart Media. And I want to give a shout out to those birthdays in October, starting with my brother Oren. Shout out to OB. Your birthday is Sunday today. Thank you for being my brother. And I'm not going to tell the story when you left me to get my ass kicked. And then, that's another story entirely. Shout out, shout out to my grandbaby, Munchie. Munchie's going to be 14. I can't believe it, Milan's 14 already, Greg. Where the hell does time flies, man? I'm telling you. And I know in a little while, Ryan Thomas and the crew will be going to the damn prom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Just a matter of time. The boys will be
So
in the prom.
so that's how fast people grow up, man, up in this bad boy. But speaking of growing up and blowing up, I was before we went to break, we was breaking down the major league matchup for this go around. And we know we got Yankees in Toronto. That's gonna happen, obviously. We got the Cubs and the Brewers, the Dodgers and the Phillies. I think that's gonna be a goodie, Greg. And Detroit versus Seattle. So I'm gonna start with you, Ryan. Yankees in Toronto.
You don't
I'm
want to
gonna
start me.
start with you.
Obviously, you know who I'm going. What
No,
I
I
think
don't
is going to
care. But
happen.
let's break down Toronto because I want Greg to break down Toronto. You're gonna break down Stinkies, and he's gonna break down Toronto.
So you want me to break down the Yankees right now? But we
Yeah,
have
break the
the
Yankees down.
easiest.
Why would they beat Toronto? And I need Greg to break down why does he think Toronto got a chance against the Yankees?
So I'll tell you right now what I think is that we're riding the momentum. It's the same reason why I said in the beginning of this year that although it's nice to see that gold trophy that means absolutely nothing at the end of the regular season, that's a 1 or a 2 seed, I'd rather them have the momentum of the wild card game. And I was at Yankee Stadium for game 3. So I got to see and feel the energy in there. Not one person that was in that stadium, including the soft, sissy wussy Red Sox fans believe for a second that the Yankees were going to lose. And I feel that energy is going to carry over to Toronto when we make our way to the fake country that is Canada and plant our New York flag. Look, just with the starting pitchers alone at this point, Schlittler has evolved. We've got Heel going out there for game one so that the rest of the guys can get a little bit of rest. Fried is going to be out there for game two. We talk about the bullpen that the Mets sorely lack. Well, the Yankees bullpen stepping it up. Devin Williams, an outstanding double play. I think it was game one. He's starting to gain that confidence that we'd hope he get around the playoff time.
Okay.
When we last saw him in the playoffs last year, he got smoked by Alonso, and it took him about a year to recover. But it looks like his changeup is back to what it needs to be. And Vasquez, Greg, I know that you played in Major League Baseball for a long time. Like, energy seems to be very important. You see my man Vasquez getting hyped like that? He didn't even do anything.
Okay.
It was a hit to the warning track.
All right,
He was that hyped.
Greg, break. Okay, that's his analysis of the Yankees. I need you to break down Toronto and what they bring to this, because it's 5 games, right, Greg? It's Ryan. It's a 5-game series, correct? So I think it's going to go 5 games. But tell me, Greg, in your eyes, in your view, how Toronto could combat, because I think they were almost. I think Toronto got about a couple of games during the regular season. Am I right, Ryan?
Well, when we were having the worst point in our season, yes. They had
Okay,
some.
okay.
They hit. Yes. Sorry,
Okay.
Greg. Yes.
So, Greg, your turn. Break down in Toronto and see how they go against up the Yankees.
Well, I think Toronto. I mean, they might be at a little disadvantage. With Bichette being out. You know what I mean? Bo,
Mm-hmm.
he's out for the series. I mean, I think he led all of baseball in hitting with runners in
Scoring
scoring
position.
position.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's a big loss. But like I said, I think the Yankees are riding momentum. I think with all the uncertainty like of the lineup in Game One, they're putting their guys out there now. So it's going to be entertaining. Uh, but right now, I just think the Yankees have the momentum, and when they can win games without hitting home runs, that's a big key. You know what I mean? The guys are actually not playing like the Mets or the Yankees early, hitting singles and jogging to first and, you know, dapping up before they get down to first base.
Yep.
Guys are, they're trying to score, and that's the name of the game. I tell people, what's the objective when you get to home plate? It's to score. So, if you come out of that batter's box, put the pressure on the defense, and that's what I see the Yankees doing. But the good thing about Toronto is Toronto. That's how they play all year. That's expected from their manager. So, I, I think it's gonna be entertaining. I think they're gonna have to control Vlad. You know what I mean? Just like they're gonna have to control Judge. You can't let those two guys beat you, and it'll be an entertaining series. Just like we can bounce over to the Phillies and
Let's
and the Dodgers.
let's do it. Let's bounce over the Phillies and Dodgers, because um, my brother and
Dodgers.
I had a discussion last night. And I don't care. I think Shohei is one of the best. I just love watching him pitch, and then coming up and hitting. I just enjoy his game, Greg. And I know the Phillies always bring the noise with Bryce and the crew. That's going to be a good series.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great series. And then the scary thing about it is the Dodgers are starting to click now. That's the thing that's scary. They haven't played like this all year long, right? But they're some teams they're built for the playoffs, and they're getting their guys back. You see Mookie doing his thing now,
Mm-hmm.
and he was basically out all year. The starting pitching is doing what they do, and you got Shohei. He's killing the ball. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do like the blue collar, mindset of the Phillies. You go from Hollywood, you go to you go to the grinders, right? Schwarber and those guys, man. You know, you're going to be in for a fight. They're going to pack a lunch, and if the Dodgers slip a little bit, the Phillies they're gonna do what they do. They're built to win a World Series also. And then you can go over to you can go to
Let's
Bruce City.
w-
You
w-
can go over to Bruce City. Bruce
let's
City,
go to Ryan. I want you to take the Cubs and the Brewers, because I think that's going to be a goodie too.
Yes.
well,
And
you gotta let me take them to the Brewers because I
yeah,
played
we
for
got to
them.
let Greg take it the Brewers.
Yeah,
I just want
yeah,
to
yeah.
add one thing. This is our first
I'm
time
gonna
we got to
let you.
see
Okay, I'm sorry.
Shohei's start.
I forgot you a Brew Crew, my brother.
He's a Brewer legend, man. That's Vaughn's Valley out there. It's still Vaughn's
Yeah,
Valley
yeah.
out there to me. But in terms of the Phillies versus the Dodgers, I think this is the one chance for the Dodgers to get upset in the playoffs. I think the Phillies are the only team in the National League that's really stand a chance. I'm sorry, Greg. I know you hate to hear this as the Brewers guy, but man, the Phillies are just built to take out the Dodgers. They're missing Zach Wheeler, but their lineup is scary, man. Like Greg said, who we called the MVP of the National League, Schwarber is just a beast, man.
Mm-hmm.
And between Bryce Harper, Schwarber, and I love Harrison Bader being added to center field.
He didn't
He's
do
just been a
nothing with the
stud,
Mets and with the Yankees, which I
but
don't
he's doing a
understand.
lot in
He didn't do
Philadelphia,
nothing with the Mets and the
and he did a
Yankees.
lot for the Yankees.
He get
Yo,
out of
I'm
New York
sorry.
and look at him. He's MVP, Greg. You get out of New York and he don't know how to act.
He's a damn playoff legend. I remember that one bleak year. I don't know if it was maybe 2022, but Harrison Bader came out and did his thing and was a great center fielder in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be that same Harrison Bader. I am excited to see this series. If I'm going to make one prediction, look, I said that the Dodgers are going to go all the way until the Yankees upset them in a movie type fashion. But I think if it's going to happen, it's going to be the Phillies. But anyway, Greg, let's get into these
Greg,
Brewers, man.
let's get with the
Hey,
Brew Crew because ain't nobody talking about the Brew Crew like that, Greggy.
see, in the Brew Crew, uh, that's that National League baseball. I mean, they can be, they're built just like the Cubs, just about. You know what I mean? They're similar in the fact that they can hit, the long ball, but they go first to third. They steal bases. They keep constant pressure on you. So I mean, that's going to be an interesting series also, and it's only 80 miles apart. You're talking about Chicago and Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's a rivalry already. You have Council, who was from Wisconsin, coached the Brewers, and now he's coming back to play the Brewers in the playoffs with the Cubs. Like I said, me and Ryan were talking last week. It's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be it's awesome for baseball. It's a good time of year. And like I said, I think these teams are built a lot alike. You know what I mean? It's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But right now, I think the Cubs might have a little bit of advantage just on the back end on the bullpen because with the closer being out for Milwaukee. You know what I mean? He was an All Star and he's out. So right now the clubs are clicking. PGA is freaking. He's starting to swing the bat. He didn't do anything in the first two games, and for the Cubs, it's gonna be entertaining, man, and it's good because it's a rivalry also.
So Greg, so Ryan, let me flip to you right quick. We're gonna take a break. Detroit and Seattle, which I think is going to be another good one too, because I just like that Seattle team. I love the back catcher guy hitting home runs like there's no tomorrow. So I would love to see if there's a Cinderella for me in this go round. Honestly, it would be Seattle, and I like Detroit, but for some reason it would be Seattle.
Yeah, look, Seattle is this is the best Mariners team we've seen in a very long time, right? And they have I'd say the second best player in the American League this year over there in Cal Raleigh.
Yep.
A- Absolute monster, 60 home runs, maybe the best season ever had by a catcher. People forget. I'm pretty sure he was a Platinum Glove winner too. I mean, he's one of the better defensive catchers. I'm not to
No,
take
he
anything
is.
away.
He is, and I know you can't take anything away from what Mr. Judge has done, but to squat down there and play six
Yep.
out of 7 days every single day, hit 60 home runs, lead a staff, he's done something no one else has ever done from that position, and like I said, as great of years Judge has had. I just think we've seen something that's never been done before, and
Yep.
he's gonna be the MVP.
You
Yep.
might be right, Greg. There's that thing called recency bias, and I think it's
No,
when
no,
you
it's
look at
called
some
Yankee
of
bias.
Judge's stats.
We
I mean,
tired of
it's
the damn
just
Yankees. We just tired of the Stinkies, man. Just let them go and play and don't give them no more awards. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into some NFL. How easy of a schedule is it for the Buffalo Bills? It's an easy schedule. You go, well, Ryan,
I don't
Google
know.
this.
I think that Patriots game is going to be quite a
Oh,
matchup.
okay, okay,
That's going to be
okay,
a fun
okay,
game. We got
okay.
the new guard coming in. My man Drake
Okay,
May is
all
no
right,
joke.
okay. And the only four old four teams, the Jets, the Titans, and the Saints, which one will win the game? We'll be right back. And the problem won't be the Jets either. Fox Sports 1280. Hey, welcome back to segment 3 to what's going on in the experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeartMedia. And I got my man Greg Vaughn down in Vegas. He's finally in the building with me. I got Ryan V out of the Hamptons. He's here, was holding it down when I was on the road. But I'm back, and we talking some football. I want to talk basketball, but the Knicks did win 2 games in the bye. But that's neither here nor there, because that's only preseason and it doesn't count. So what does count is the daggone Buffalo Bills easy ass schedule. I'm sorry. If the NFL don't want nobody to go to Super Bowl, they want the Bills to go. That's the easiest schedule. Ryan, please look up their schedule for me and just let the audience know I'm not fantasizing, but they have a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. The Bills' schedule for this year. I can probably pull that up right now here.
There you
Okay, so
go.
let's see. We've got, well, like I said, the Patriots coming up this week. I don't look at
Remaining
that
games.
as an easy
The
game.
first 4 games was who? The
Then
Jets.
you're right. Then we have 2 easy games, right? So following that, we've got the Falcons and the Panthers. But then we're having the Chiefs come to Buffalo to
Okay.
challenge them at home. The Dolphins, easy. You got me there. Bucks could be sneaky and still have a great quarterback over there. Bills, Texans, I wouldn't underrate that. Bills, Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. I still think he's got some juice in the tank. Bengals, they lucked out having their quarterback get injured. Patriots again. Browns are weak. Eagles are tough, and Jets are easy. I don't know. It seems like a pretty. I don't know. I guess it's it's got some easy
That's the
points there. Maybe
easy.
you're right. Yeah.
Greg, help me out. That's the easy schedule, man. I mean, no schedule is easy if you're an athlete. Don't let me start with that one. I don't want to
Well, it's a
disrespect
weak
my brothers.
division. It's an incredibly weak
I don't
division.
want to disrespect the other guys in the division. But like, come
Disrespect
on,
them.
Greg. That ain't the toughest schedule out there, bro.
Are we talking about the 49ers win on Thursday night? Oh, are you talking about the
No,
Bills? Are you talking
no,
about
no.
the
You mean the 49ers lost on Thursday night
uh,
when the Rams came back on them?
no, the 49ers won. You must have went to sleep.
Okay.
The 49ers won. They won with the backup quarterback. Mike Jones, he came
That's
in good.
right, Mac Jones.
He
What
came in.
looking nice out there too, Mac Jones, huh?
Oh yeah, hey, I don't understand. Purdy's our guy, but I don't even understand why we played him the week before. You know what I mean? He can't get the ball downfield. He can't make the plays, and that's the thing about Shanahan, man. He's a plug and play system. If you can make reads and get the ball out of your hand, you'll have success. You know what I mean? The defense is playing good. You know, Buffalo, they do have their offense is potent. I'm not sold on their defense yet. I thought
Nobody is.
I thought their defense was going to be a little bit better. I mean, if you would have thought the Ravens would be what 1-3, 1-4,
What?
1-3, no one thought that. But you look at their defense. I mean,
They
you,
have
you
no
got,
defense.
yeah, the Ravens don't have a defense.
Ravens have no defense.
The Bills don't have a defense, and I think now you're going to start to see teams start to gel because when you don't play in the preseason, you know what I mean. Guys are making so much money, you don't want them to get hurt. You see the rust, right? So there's been a lot of rust throughout the whole league, and you'll see teams start to come together. But I don't know who's going to be in the Bills' way. I tell you what, Kansas City's looking really good right now too. They're starting to click. So I think that's going to be a tough matchup for the Bills. Uh, but I like the parity of football. Any given week, you don't know what can happen, right? And I mean that's something to look forward to. So I like, I live for football. Shoot,
So so
we got Florida State later on today. It's a good day. You know what I
okay,
mean?
so speaking of the different teams, like you said, okay, because you mentioned this in your soliloquy, because I'm asking Ryan, are the Ravens done? Because Lamar's not going to be playing today. So are the Ravens done? Question number one. Question number two, the backup question: how real are the Steelers? And then I get you a question three. Go ahead, Ryan. So are the
Well,
Ravens done?
in terms of, it's never good to be off to a 1-3 start and then your star players hurt. Derrick Henry with some very sketchy
He
fumbles.
got the yips. He got the yips.
The offensive line for Baltimore is hurt. I mean, look, any team can bounce back, and this could just be their lull, and rather it be now than later. But this doesn't look like as healthy and complete a Baltimore team as we saw even last year. So I'm a little nervous right now if I'm a Ravens fan. And who was the other team that you mentioned,
I
Nate?
said, are the Steelers for real?
And the Steelers are.
Is old behind Aaron um off the ground? Is he for real? Are the Steelers for real? That's all I got. Question. Steelers for real.
He's a good game manager. He's not losing games for them. but he's not going out there putting the team on his back, right? I mean, I didn't mean to step on your toes, Ryan, but I just had. It's not like Aaron Rodgers is going out there throwing for 450 and 5 touchdowns and carrying the team. I think he's managing the game. He's keeping them in the game, not losing the game. And for the Ravens, this, you know what? I think. I mean, just my take on it. Derrick Henry had 5 touches last time. I mean, how can he have 5 touches in a game? You have to run the ball. They're built on being physical, right? And then the play action and the rest of that stuff works. It reminds me of like when Harbaugh, when we had Kaepernick, we had Gore. I mean, we ran the ball, we ran the ball, we ran. All of a sudden, next year we come out 5 wide and we start throwing the ball over. You lose your identity. So I think they have to get back to running the football, and then getting eight guys in the box, get one-on-one coverage, and then those receivers can do something, right? But when you're coming out, you know, first
But
play of the
but
game,
but, but it goes back to what you said earlier. They can't stop nobody. The
no,
the
no.
Ravens. Listen, the only team that I've seen in the last 5 years that defense is suspect, but they still won the Super Bowl, is Kansas City Chiefs. They never have like stop your defense. They always have to outscore you, and when they needed stops, they would do it. Right?
Well, I think
Just
last
think
year their
they had a
defense did.
situational defense.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
they needed stops, they would stop you. They wouldn't stop you the whole game. You could run on them, but when they needed to come together, they could do that. I don't see the Ravens doing that at all. I just don't see them getting off the ground, off the mat on this one. You're right. I mean, the division they're in is not that good, but at the end of the day, I'm just I just don't see it, man. And I think the grills is running thin in Baltimore with Lamar. We talk about how great he is, but and I don't mean no disrespect, but it's at some point in time in the NFL, you got to put up or shut up, or you be with Dan Orlovsky on ESPN getting berated by that guy over there. So
you get berated by Coach
that
Ryan,
guy, I ain't
Rick,
saying no names
Rick
because old
Ryan.
girl is history. You be getting berated by that guy over there and thinking that, he knows more than the player. But I ain't saying that. That's why I've got you on the show, Greggy, because you know more than me and Ryan. We don't know nothing. You know more.
No, it's but that debates and having debates, that's a good thing. It's just all of our opinions, right?
Yeah.
And we have to respect each other's opinions, and just like I respect that Nate went away on a hiatus after the after the baseball season.
Here we go again,
The last
man.
2 weeks. Isn't
It's
that
like,
weird? The whole
man,
8-game losing streak to end the
look,
season.
man.
No Nate Brown Jr.
Sometimes you got to take a sabbatical, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta take a step back and reevaluate your thoughts. It's okay.
And I,
It's okay when your team is a loser and they're a mess. It's all right, man. I really get it. We're gonna take a quick break. And when we come back for our final segment, we're really gonna talk about these 0-4 teams. There's three of them: the Jets, the Titans, and the Saints. And I also want to ask you too, Ryan and Greg, how real are the Colts and the Jaguars? And if you look at that AFC and NFC West, those teams are bunched up, Ryan. So go back there and do a little research and check out the NFC and AFC West. Now those are like the best two divisions to me in football. We're gonna take a quick break. This is Ned Brown Jr., Fox Sports 1280, with my man Greg V's trying to always berate me and Ryan down in the Hamptons. Just giddy as all giddy, but that's okay because a Blue Jay might come his way. We'll be right back. Hey, folks, welcome back for our final segment of what's going on in the experience here on Fox Sports 1280 and iHeart Media. And I got my guys in the building with me, Ryan V. down in the Hamptons. And we got Greg Vaughn out in Vegas outside today, chilling out. And GV23, tell us about that wine that you got, player, because it's a nice day for a nice, chill glass of rose.
yeah, you can get GV23. You can go to gv23.com. You can go to GV23 website, make your order, and we'll have it at your doorstep. Within the next 2 days. We go direct to consumer, and the wine benefits diabetes. So, the proceeds go to diabetes. My oldest son Corey has type 1 diabetes, and so just trying to find a cure and help as many people as we can. And with the way the world's going and these drug costs is going up and medical care going up, we're just trying to do our part. So GV23, we got Bomb Pinot, Bomb Rosé, a cab too. It's
Hmm.
fall outside, so it's getting asked for a nice bold glass of red wine.
Well, that's what's up.
Ooh, that
And then
sounds good.
speaking of red wine, the place to go enjoy that red wine is at Zoe's. Zoe's in the Hamptons. Zoe's for that GV23. Am I right, Ryan?
Pinkies out, listeners. Drink that GV23 down in the Hamptons. Come join me at Zoe Private Club. Visit us online at zoehamptons.com.
That's what's up. See, we have to get it in for the fellas because this is what they do. And speaking of what they do, before we left, I want two other teams I want to break down for you, Greg, and see if they're real because they got 3-1. I'm gonna start with the Colts. Daniel Jones looked like a new man. Where'd that guy come from, Greg? All of a sudden, Daniel Jones, who Ryan was raving about when he was a Giant, like, Nate, he ain't that bad. The Giants just stink. I guess you were right, Ryan. So, Greg, what do you say about Daniel Jones
No,
and the Colts?
I think once again it's the system. I think you draft these quarterbacks and you get these quarterbacks and you try to change them into being something that they're not. And sometimes every quarterback can't carry a team, but he can help a team win, right? So just let him help a team win instead of putting too much on him, and he'll shine. I think when you have it hurt that Saquon was that he was out and hurt. With that running game, a couple, they didn't have anything to rely on. And like I said, man, to win in the NFL, you have to be able to run. You have to be able to run the ball, right? You have to be able to run the football. You got to be able to play defense because the name of the game is control the clock, man. You can't go out there and just have a shootout.
Because there's only a certain amount of snaps that you're going to get. And I think everybody with their nice data and all that little stuff, they know how many snaps you get per game, per quarter, you know what I mean, per minute. I mean, they've got it down to the analytics right down to that. So Ryan, here you are, the coach. What about the Jaguars? They're 3-1. And is Trevor playing the way he's supposed to be playing now that he got
Yeah,
some weapons?
yeah, the Jaguars are looking good. It's just like any other quarterback. You need a supporting cast around you. Like Greg mentioned, the success of Daniel Jones. He's got a great running back. And honestly, the Colts probably should have won that last game over some
Yep.
stupid penalties.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Jags are looking good, right? They've got a new head coach over there, Coach Cohen, I believe his
Mm-hmm.
name is. Their defense has stepped up. It hasn't just been the offense. We're still waiting for Travis Hunter to really break out, and I think when that happens, that's when the Jags get even scarier. I mean, how often do you actually get a two-way weapon like Travis Hunter that's going to play
Exactly.
cornerback, wide receiver? It doesn't happen often. Trevor Lawrence now has the bag, so at least the pressure's off his back. The
Mm-hmm.
Jags are committed to the guy, and it's a mix of they've got veterans, they've got young guys. I mean, I'm not sure the Jags are going to finish. What are they, 3-1? I'm not sure they're going to end up with 15 wins or 14 wins and three losses. But I would say with the makeup, at least an 11, 12 win season for what I've seen so far. What do you think, Greg?
I was gonna say 9 to 10, but go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I would say 9 or 10. But what they're doing also is that they're running the ball. They're having
Yep.
success because they're running the ball. Like I said, anytime you have to drop back and pass the ball, you know, 40 to 50 times, to me, the success rate isn't very high. And you can see, that's what Denver was doing. Now they're getting back to the run, right? The Broncos are trying to make Bo Nix the next John Elway, drop him back 40, 50 times. It's tough to win that. The defenses are too good. You're going to get your guys hurt, and the thing about it is they haven't played that much preseason, so timing's off. Guys aren't in tune with one another. So I think the running game. I know that they downplay the running back, but I mean, you just look at the 49ers the other day with McCaffrey out of the backfield, handing off to him. When you have a
Mm-hmm.
guy like that that can you know, keep the other team off the field. And plus, I mean, you're establishing your will, right? Your physicality on the
Oh yeah,
opponent.
you're establishing that offensive line
Yeah,
because if the offensive line is dominant and they just bowling over everybody, you'll
This is
do
a
well.
huge test, though. This is the big test for them this week. Monday Night Football. Everyone's going to be watching. They're taking on Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. So if they win, against the Chiefs. That's my hot take for the day. Is that they'll end up with 12 wins this season
Yeah.
if they
So
can
if the
get their fourth
Jacksonville,
win right now, this
if they
early in
beat
the season.
Kansas
Oh
City,
yeah, yeah. This is a team that is playing way better than I thought, and also goes to show the difference when there's a new coach. The energy.
Mhm.
I'm liking these Jags.
Yeah,
Okay,
I like
so
him.
you like the Jags. You like the Jags. Here we are, the 3-0-4 teams. Who will win the game first? Will it be the Jets? Will it be the Titans? Will it, because the Jets used to be named the Titans, which I think is so ironic. Would it be the Saints, who folks put bags over their heads? They used to be the Eights. So who will win their first game this Sunday? I'm gonna start with you, Greg, and then end up with you, Ryan. Greg, who's gonna win the first game? The
Jets.
Jets, Titans, or Saints?
Jets. I think the
No,
Jets.
no, okay, no. Who the Jets playing, Ryan? I need to know the opponent. But before you make the prediction, let's get the opponent.
So this week the Jets playing the Cowboys, and I agree with
Okay.
Greg because that is they have one win. I know they tied last week. That was a disappointing tie. But I don't think that the Giants riding last week's win are going to go lose to the Saints. I feel like Jackson Darts, he's mad.
Okay.
I don't think he
Okay.
wanted to be with the Saints, but there were those rumors that he was going to get drafted by the Saints. Well, they passed him up, and
So, but I'm saying
he's
though, so
Dayball's
Greg,
quarterback. So I don't see.
so
I
Greg,
agree
you're
with Greg on
saying
this
the
one.
Jets gonna beat the Cowboys.
You said who was going to be the first team to win. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but they're going to be the first team to
Okay.
win.
I see. You know, I like how you listen, Greg. Because I tried to back you into the Cowboy
no,
corner.
no,
You didn't take the
no,
bait. You didn't, you
no,
didn't
no,
take the bait.
no.
Well,
Okay, so
the
Ryan.
Titans play the Cardinals. Anything can happen there, I guess. But
Okay,
Cam Ward hasn't really translated well for the guy
Well, it's not,
so
not
far.
yet.
but he doesn't have any players around him either. So
Nobody.
yeah, so I think he's doing all the right things. He's the first one in the building, last one to leave. I think Cam
Mm-hmm.
Moore's going to be all right. But now you have to go out and get him some weapons. You got to go out and get him some players that can make plays for him. You got to get a line that can protect him. Because like I said, being a rookie and he's coming out there throwing 40, 50 times a game is not. I mean, it's not conducive to winning.
I got to
So,
ask you this,
so,
Greg.
so Ryan,
Is it
Ron, go
this is
quickly.
this is an important question here, and I feel
Okay.
like nobody really asked this, Nate. This is for both of you guys here. The Titans are kind of responsible, right? Very responsible. You draft Cam Ward that high. You need somebody that's going to teach him how to be the right type of QB because most QBs that do well sometimes they'll sit and wait, or they're being mentored by somebody. Their backup is Trevor Simeon. So
Who's he?
is it almost
Who's
a
he?
terrible move by the GM to not bring in a backup and spend that extra money on somebody that he could sit behind and teach the guy,
Well,
so they don't just throw him out there in the wolves with no help?
Well, I think he's a different type of, number one overall pick too because he's a little bit older too, right? So he's been around the way. Maturity wise, I think he has it. I just think it doesn't matter who you run out there on that team right now. They don't have players, and that's the
They don't.
they don't have any playmakers. The offensive line is horrible. The they have your boy from Dallas is the running back. Pollard, that's Pollard. That's it's a good running back, man. But dude, they have no weapons. You got to have guys that can make plays, and I think getting the quarterback is the first step, and then now you continue to build. But I would not say Cam Ward's having a bad year. I just think he doesn't have enough players around him.
Okay, so Greg, I'm gonna come back to you in a second, but Ryan, what's the Jets' excuse? What are the Jets' excuse? What is Aaron Glenn's excuse? And Ryan, you're laughing. I'm gonna get to you, but Greg first. What's the Jets' excuse for being 0-4? And actually, they were in all four games. It ain't like they couldn't win and be probably 4-0 because they were in all four of those games. What happened? Why'd they fall short, Ryan?
Well, for me, it's not enough. I mean, as good as Fields has been, he's still throwing interceptions. He's still struggling under pressure. There's been some injuries, right? They lost their secondary. Yeah, I mean, look, and like always, it's just a poorly managed team. It's not like Aaron Glenn has really been anything special, right? He's being outcoached. Yeah, I said it. And they're just always going to be the underdogs. I'm sorry, the offensive line isn't doing a great job protecting their quarterback. Still a bunch of turnovers. I'm sorry, it's just the same old Jets. It's the same old sad story as always.
Jeez Louise, tell me how you really feel, Linda. Okay. Oh my goodness.
I mean, look at Salah. Salah's looking great over in San Francisco right
He
now.
look like a whole new man. He's getting
He
ready
was
to
a whole
beat
new
some
man
coach
out there
up the
running
other
on the
day.
field, looking excited. Like their
But he's
defense
getting ready
is
to beat
just.
up some coach the other day. So Greg, what is the Jets' problem? I know that I know they're 0-4. I know I like Aaron Glenn. He jumps up and down the sideline when they're doing something good, but they just can't seem to get over the hump. And they played it off. They played, I mean, with the exception of the last one when they were coming from behind and almost won. The other three, they actually were in the game.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes,
Greg?
sometimes it takes a while to put your blueprint on a organization, right? On a franchise. They haven't won for a long time, so they first of all the locker room, the culture, the building. They have to learn how to win. They have to learn how to be pros. They have to learn how to come to work every day. They have to learn how to uh, what's expected of them. And like I said, when you're not winning, and I don't want to say dysfunctional because I wasn't in the building, but when you don't win and you have a bunch of guys that don't believe in one another, they're not playing for the name on the front. Everyone's playing for the name on the back, trying to get their bag. There's nothing good that can happen, right? So I think, Aaron Glenn's gonna be all right. He's a winner. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna turn that defense around, and I think Justin Fields is starting to play a lot better quarterback, and they have to learn how to win. Right now, they don't. They're accustomed to losing these close games, right? They,
Close, exactly right.
they're
I
It's
mean,
just
a field
dysfunction
goal
overall.
away, they catch
Matt,
it, they can't
I
get
had
the
a
two
friend
point
that played for
conversion.
the Jets and the Giants, and he used to take me behind the scenes. I'm not going to name his name. I don't want to throw him under the bus. But even the functions behind the scenes, it's dysfunction. You're getting hot dogs at the meet and greets, whereas you're getting filet mignon at the Giants meet and
At the
greets.
Giants, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just
I've
it's
heard that.
every
No,
it's
no, I've
all the
heard
little
that.
things. They don't
I've
switch the
heard
field over. It's
I've heard that,
disrespectful.
Ryan. I've heard that. I've heard that they don't respect the players, and that's why people love to play. And back to Dallas. That's why I like to play it. That's why people love to play for Jerry Jones. As cruddy as he is, personality. He's a high class guy in terms of that facility. Everything they said, and I've heard this from Dallas players, even in the past, is first class. Some organizations are like that. And Greg, you're a professional athlete. You know when you came to maybe Shea Stadium, Yankee Stadium, you wasn't getting the dirty Franks outside that they were serving everybody else. You was getting filet mignon. Okay. You was getting filet mignon. You know what I'm saying? So you knew that already. But now some place you went to, you was getting a hot dog and a brewski and say, see you later.
yeah, you're right. You're right. But like I said, it's just gonna take a little bit for Aaron Glenn to really put a stamp on the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be okay. Uh, but like I said, you're talking about changing the thought process of 53 men, right? And now we got to change the process of the people upstairs too. So with the different general manager and different people, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to, I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I think it's going to be, it's they just have to give him some time because it's going to be a process, and we'll see what happens. I just think they'll go as far as if Fields continues to grow, and I think Aaron Glenn will put he'll put his face on that defense, and the defense will start to play better, and they'll just all it takes is just winning one of those close games, and now they believe they can win, and that turns their season around.
Hey, Bill, we're going to end on that note because I believe we could win. Thank you for that, my man, Greg. We're going to win one of them spin awards. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going back to that flavor. Listen, we don't get nominated too much for a lot of stuff, so I'm going to keep it a buck with you. As usual, man, Greg, is always good to see you and chop it up with you. Ryan V, you're my man, homeboy. You all are my
Hey,
brothers from another mother's. That's what I'm
let's go,
talking
boys.
about.
Another great week. Everybody, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And go to our website, foxsportsradiowgo.com, for all things what's going on.
Until next week, God spares our lives. We'll be back. Peace.
Please.
God
All
bless.
right.
And see you.